Malpractice cases, prescribing issues, criminal investigations. What you don't know about your doctor could hurt you.
25 Investigates found online reviews and even official databases can leave you in the dark. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel explains there can be a lot to track down.
When it comes to researching a doctor, there is no one-stop shopping. Records can exist with medical boards, law enforcement agencies, or at courthouses. Some may not exist at all, at least not for the public to see. A viewer asked us to look into one doctor who's worked at 91 nursing homes in Mass from 2012 to 2015 alone. She was surprised by all she found. We found even more. Weeks after 25 Investigates began looking into Dr. Husheng Poor, we got our first look at him. Dr. Poor sees hundreds of patients a month at 8 local nursing homes, including Mattapan Health and Rehab, where he's the medical director. This woman says her niece recently spent 3 months under his care, so she looked him up. What was your reaction when you started seeing things pop up about Dr. Poor?
So I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? I'm like, why does he still have a license?
Dr. Poor's Massachusetts medical license is in good standing. The only recorded discipline is from 2018. He agreed to a 3-year license probation to settle allegations that he provided care below accepted standards to 4 Canton nursing home patients.
As far as the State Board of Registration of Medicine, he's clear to practice, no restrictions.
Well, there's none on the record.
Boston attorney Carmen Durso says there is more to Dr. Poor that you won't find on his state profile. That's because the state medical board isn't required to publicize Justice Department settlements, state audits, or lawsuits that do not result in malpractice payments. Dr. Poor has them all. The state medical board declined an on-camera interview.
If I were a teenager who was adept with the internet, could I find out everything there is to find out about him? Yeah, perhaps, but I don't think the average person would find out all the things that we found out.
Things like this. Dr. Poor agreed to a $100,000 settlement to resolve allegations that he improperly prescribed narcotics like oxycodone and Xanax. There's a $680,000 settlement related to allegations of Medicare and Medicaid fraud. And a state audit found he billed Mass Health for services when he was traveling out of the country.
I did not want to report it because I felt ashamed.
We also found Dr. Poor is currently fighting a civil lawsuit in state court.
The plaintiff says he grabbed her and fondled her.
Attorney Durso represents a nurse who claims he groped her at a Canton nursing home in 2016.
He took his hands and he was rubbing his hands on my legs, on my inner thigh. It was a shock for me.
Dr. Poor denies touching the nurse inappropriately and says an investigation conducted by the nursing home supports that. In a countersuit, he says the nurse is making false accusations. Dr. Poor tells me all of the other allegations he's faced stem from record-keeping discrepancies. He says it's cheaper to settle than fight.
There is certainly the potential for a variety of things to happen that people just are not going to have access to that information.
Dr. Ann Hester is an internal medicine physician who wrote the book, Patient Empowerment 101. She says the first place to start when looking for a new doctor is family and friends. She says a physician's state profile is another box to check, but as we found, a lot can be missing. A Google search may reveal more background, but don't just rely on a handful of reviews. She says websites like Medicare Compare, Healthgrades, and the Quality Assurance Institute can also help you make an informed decision.
It's not a one-size-fits-all. Look at all the different aspects, get all the information that you can get, and then you make your own decision.
If you don't think you're getting good care, Dr. Hester says it's okay to find someone new. We have a link to the sites she shared with us in this story on our website, boston25news.com. For 25 Investigates, I'm Ted Daniel.